Alrighty.
Alrighty, so let's go. It is 5:32. Go ahead and call the January 7th meeting of the Energy Committee to order. We have a light agenda today, so I'm hoping that I always say this, that it shouldn't take long and then we go an hour, but I honestly do believe that this should be relatively short. So just some status updates. We do have we have one decision that we do need to make today, and then we also need to approve the submission for the annual town report. So those are probably the critical orders of business, so we're going to go ahead and take those first. So let's start off with the discussion about the EV charger. Did you get a chance to think about it anymore? Or?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if right now we'd be better off waiting and holding off until we at least have more use here.
So the gist of the conversation here is that EDC, environmental, where's my head's still back at work. Economic Development Committee had a proposal that was going to be on Woodward Street, and the residents kind of rejected it. They didn't want to deal with it, and even the businesses said this wouldn't be really helping us all that much. So they asked us as the Energy Committee whether we wanted to adopt their proposal and move it to municipal office building. Now, we've talked several times through multiple iterations, multiple years of doing
Multiple
people a charger here.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to when Tom and I proposed it probably 3-4 years ago now. The problem that we're in is we're a little bit of a catch-22 or chicken and the egg type of thing. Is if we did a public one, that's fine, but how much draw would we get for a level 3 charger at town offices? Maybe a few. We could do a hybrid, which is ultimately our goal in the Energy Committee, is municipal operations more so than the public. That introduces some complexity for accounting to be able to break the costs, and how does the municipal charge, or how do the municipal vehicles charge for the electricity? Do they put it on a credit card, then we got a credit card fee? Do we have some kind of secret code, and then you got to audit that and all that good stuff? Which is probably the solution, ultimately, is to do something like that. Or we could go straight private, and the charger exists for municipal operations. What National Grid told us is that they're running out of money for the hybrid or the public ones. They've got gobs of money for the municipal ones. They're separate grant programs. One is very oversubscribed and one is undersubscribed. So the EDC, of course, did the public, right? That was their whole purpose. So we're competing for funds with everybody for that one. So the decision before us is, do we jump at the funds while they're available and try to put in a public charger here? Or do we, knowing that there's going to be long-term funds available for private municipal use chargers for the foreseeable future, do we hold off until we actually have some electric vehicles in the fleet to do that? Because as of right now, there's no municipal vehicle that could use it.
Then it seems not going for the municipal makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Going for public, there is a big demand right now.
Mm-hmm.
As you well know, like I do. Does the public one have to be on municipal land?
No. The EDC proposal, it was in fact on municipal land, but it was basically across from 1870.
Yeah, it's already congested there.
Yeah.
I would say the school.
That was one option.
Or here at the far corner. if it didn't have to be on public, I would say down by the Rotary
Mhm.
and find some land down there, because I just know a lot of people that have apartments and
Mhm.
condos don't have a place to charge. So if it's level 3, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, that's where I would go with it. Because although we do have, there's that Tesla
Mhm.
station up, there's so many people underserved
Mhm.
because they don't have Teslas.
Mhm. Myself. So where is the property that the town is always talking about on River Road next to, is that
It's-
potentially something that we could?
I mean, I wouldn't do it near, I think there's public lands close to the community gardens or part of the community gardens. That's close to the highway, that could be prone to vandalism.
Mhm.
But it is an ideal location.
Mhm.
So I'd be hesitant to do that if it wasn't closer to where people congregate.
Yeah. And we also have we would then need to maintain, and we would use a
Yeah.
third party, but we would still have to, police and inspect, because you can't count on them to
Yeah.
do it all on their own.
I mean, in all honesty, I think the far corner of the parking lot here is probably the best.
The far-
Because,
Okay.
well, it's, am I turned
We were
around?
talking about the one,
I'm sorry, it's that way.
yeah, by the big, we were always looking at
By
the
the-
spots by the big electrical box, right by the door, along the wall,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
by the mailbox there, and
For
Uh,
ease of, it's right there.
it's
Yeah.
right there. It's.
What happens with those, because I've experienced this at Sole Proprietor,
Mhm.
is that you get iced out a lot.
Okay.
And, it defeats the purpose of having it. That's why it's like, it's better to have it in the place where nobody wants to park. But, yeah.
Do we want to, do we at least want to explore the option of doing it?
Could.
Because as of right now, it's dead. I mean, dead as a doornail. So.
Wait, dead because
We would-
it's municipal, or?
Dead because it doesn't have a sponsor. EDC just said we're done.
Oh,
Yeah.
EDC, but the funding is still there.
It was never secured, but we could resurrect the application relatively
Or
easily.
at least the possibility of funding.
Yeah.
I would say if the funding's still there, go for it, because I don't think you're gonna see the long-term stuff within the next 4 years. Unless it's state, not federal.
Yeah. So what do you want to do, Amy?
We have to figure out, electric-wise, how it would all work out,
Mm.
as far as if it's connected to our
Mhm.
electricity.
Mhm.
How is that then going to,
Do you want me to just contact the
Affect.
vendor and say, hey,
and ask them?
Yeah, if it's level 3, they're gonna have to run their own wire anyway.
and that's the other thing about, we need to be careful where we put it, because we don't want to tear up the parking lot that we just paved.
Mm.
That
And
was
it
part
can't
of-
be, it can't be in the way of the emergency vehicles.
Can't be in the way of emergency vehicles, can't be,
I don't know, the school's sounding more, like down by the tennis courts. I mean,
I don't know how far you'd have to pull power, though. If
don't they have a
it's-
spotlight over there?
Hmm?
Isn't there a street light over there?
Yeah, I mean, the school itself has probably a pretty substantial power supply. It's just, I don't know whether we'd have to pull from the street or if we could pull off the school.
That's above my pay grade, I don't know.
That's above my pay grade too. All right, so what I'm kind of hearing, and Amy, I'm looking at you to nod, is let's at least talk to them and see what they think.
Yep.
And I'm thinking a hybrid at this point, because we might as well have the option
Right.
for the municipality to use it. All right, I'll talk to Kristen. I don't know if we need a vote. Do we need a vote? I don't think we need a vote. I'll talk to Kristen.
No, because we didn't really yes or no it, we just,
Yeah.
we're gonna look into it.
We'll say, I'll go to Kristen and say, give me the information, try to set up a call with these folks, explain to them what we're trying to achieve, the limited options we have, and see if they're still game. Additionally, we have National Grid wants to come to our meeting next month
Okay.
for the quarterly. That would be another good time to check in with them and say, okay, last time they were here, we were talking about this. They were the ones that gave us the information about the programs and how
Yep.
they were subscribed. I guess if we have something more concrete and saying, here we are, what's the status of the programs, they could probably give us feedback on that immediately.
Mm.
So we'll have that ready for
Do you,
next one.
have you talked to a contractor yet to find out what's involved in?
They had it
rendering?
all done. They were to the point of going to the select board and pulling the trigger, and community opposition
So
basically killed it.
They had the planning all done out and the whole thing.
They got that far without getting community input?
Yes, ma'am.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. And they came to us for, I don't want to say approval, but guidance, critique, whatever. And that was the first thing I said is like, you need a neighborhood meeting. Because otherwise, if the neighbors, you got a pitchfork rebellion going on, you're in trouble. You know?
Yeah, I would have been one of those people saying, don't, because we already have enough problems with parking over there.
Yeah. That's kind of what it came down to. All right, so I guess the decision there is to touch base with the vendor, discuss
Get
our-
information.
get our information from there, and I'll bring it back, and we can talk about it at the next meeting with National Grid. All right, the other thing that we need to do, and Dee just sent out the reminder, but the ATR reports are due January 31st. I sent you a copy. I can read it now if you want quick.
Oh, it's up to you. Go ahead. You can
Okay.
read it.
All right, Energy Committee Report, 2024 Annual Town Report. In December of 2024, the town of Berlin was recognized by the Department of Energy Resources, DOER, for achieving the green community goal of reducing energy consumption by 20% compared to the 2011 baseline, marking an important milestone in our ongoing efforts to improve energy efficiency. The focus of our work remains on reducing energy consumption across town operations, with particular emphasis on reducing fuel use in municipal vehicles. We continue to explore opportunities for transforming to hybrid and electric vehicles whenever feasible. We are leveraging resources like the National Grid Fleet Advisory Services Program, which offers research and recommendations for adopting more fuel-efficient vehicles across all departments. Since Berlin's designation as a green community in 2012, the town has been awarded over $667,000 in grant funding, which has supported various energy-saving initiatives. Most recently, the town received over $200,000 to fund weatherization improvements and the modernization of the building management system at the municipal office building. This funding, part of the total green community grants, continues to drive energy efficiency improvements across town facilities. Looking ahead, the Energy Committee is focused on Berlin's goal to be designated a climate leader community, a program established by the DOER to help municipalities meet the state's climate policy goals. As part of this effort, we are working towards the elimination of on-site fossil fuel use in municipal buildings by 2050, as well as adopting a zero-emission vehicle policy and implementing the specialized opt-in building code. We are just beginning this process, but are already well positioned, having met two key criteria, being a green community in good standing and establishing an energy committee to oversee these efforts. We look forward to continuing our work towards sustainability and energy efficiency in the coming year. Respectfully submitted, me, Eloise, and Amy.
That sounds good.
All right.
It does.
Can I get a motion to approve it so I can turn it in?
Motion to approve.
Seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the Energy Committee report will go in tonight, probably. Hey!
She made it.
I had a hard time finding the minutes. I never typed them up, but this is it.
All right. So let's, so December 3rd. So what we decided to do with the EV charger is I'm going to reinitiate contact with the vendor that was doing that and say, okay,
Okay,
let's talk, at least find out what our options are
okay.
here. And we called to order at 6 or 5:35.
Two, was it
32?
Was it 32?
32. I think it was 32.
I bet there's playback.
I bet you it was.
Okay, well, I apologize.
That's okay. So we're just going to go ahead and at least get some information. We have National Grid wishes to join us at our next meeting. So the idea would be that we would have a discussion with them on the EV chargers then, once we know more of what it would look like for the community here. At the
Well, you
municipal-
can tell them we're looking forward to these conversations so that they come prepared.
Correct. The other thing that we just did is I read and we approved the annual town report.
Yeah, I saw that. The only thing I questioned, and I didn't think it was worthwhile to hit the reply, was you have the municipal office building.
Yeah.
Its official name out on the sign is the town office.
Oh, okay.
Well, 25 years from now, that's what I look at.
Oh, yeah, I can change it. It's not that big a deal.
But like I said, they'll, you know,
Okay. And that's as far as we got. So I guess we can double back now and talk to these meeting minutes quickly. I can read them, but basically December 3rd, 2024, meeting called to order at 5:34. Attendance, Eloise, me, and Amy. Next meeting, we'll have National Grid. We had to table that. Schedule about Amy to suspend adder. I did do that.
I
So
saw that email.
we will talk about that in a second.
Are you here as a private citizen or the ZBA?
She's
If anything, I am ZBA liaison,
all
and that
right.
is it.
On what?
Liaison.
Okay.
Annual grant. We talked about the annual grant with Green Community Grant with Guardian, and climate to the community. Set the next meeting. We adjourned at 6:36. Any revisions to the meetings minutes necessary?
No.
Take a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 3rd.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes are approved. Okay, let's talk about the adder. So I sent you the email where I formally requested the adder be stopped. CC Peg, CC Kristen, and the next morning I got an email back from Colonial asking to talk. So I have not
dear.
responded back to them knowing that this meeting was tonight. They seem to feel like they have some more guidance. I feel like I've been down this road before.
Every time we,
So I'm a
Yeah.
little bit antsy about it, to be completely candid with you.
So when will we be talking to them, or are they just going to talk to you?
I'll read you the email that I received. I think you got it too, but it says, "Hi
Yeah.
Tim, Happy New Year. Do you have time to speak with Mark and I about the adder this week? Given the DPU's new guidelines, the town may be able to leverage some other opportunities now afforded through DOR's best practices for municipal aggregation." I still think we should suspend it. We have like $100,000 or something like in there, and it's continuing to accrue. It's not going to stop immediately.
Right.
It's several billing cycles necessary to do that.
I'd like to see what DEP has put out that's going to change.
Yeah, I mean, it kills me a little bit.
DEP or DPU?
DOER,
Okay.
Department of Energy Resources. It kills me a little bit because when we talked to Kelly Green last month, she basically, I think it was last month, it was either at the end of November or December, Kristen had a whole conversation with her, and there was a follow-up email because we were going to leverage those funds to try to use it as an incentive for an energy
right,
manager
right.
as a way to fund that using other grant money, and that was shut down hard, that it's not an allowable use. So that's like the third thing we've tried.
Finding
And-
allowable uses?
Pardon?
Trying to find
Trying to find allowable
Yeah.
uses.
I see.
We brought Colonial in, Colonial Power Group. They're the adder administrators, I guess the program administrators. And they told us that you can't buy things, but you can fund salaries. That was okay. The reason why there was some difficulty associated with this is because they didn't want the municipalities competing with Mass Save. They wanted a single program. Okay, I get it, fine. So we did. We said, great. We will fund a salary, just like you told us to.
Came up with the energy manager.
With the energy manager, we custom wrote it. We even duplicated what apparently Lowell was doing, based off
Yeah,
of
but
what
they probably did it years ago.
they probably did it years ago. We put in the grant application, was denied, not because of that, but we didn't get it. And then the follow-up was from DOER through Kelly saying you wouldn't have been allowed to do that anyway. So we're kind of like, our
Well,
advisor.
tell us what we can do.
Tell us what we can do.
Yeah.
So we've gone to our advisors at National Grid. They were the ones that told us about the Lowell does this. Then we went to Colonial Power Group, who are administrators of the
And
municipal
they were
aggregation.
pushing the salary thing.
Brought them in here, looking at the chairs they were sitting in. They told us all this. We checked off, and we squared off on like 3 different ways. And then when we actually tried to do something, we get killed. So I'm not feeling it. I'm more than willing to hear Denise out and find out, but I'm seeking your guys' guidance on. I do not feel we should change course right now with the answer. We can always reestablish it later. But there's starting to be some angst in the select board set about how much money is starting to accrue there without a clear purpose behind it.
I make a motion that we suspend the adder.
Well, we already
On-
did.
I know, but they
Continue.
have to actually do it.
Okay. So we're reaffirming.
I would, yeah,
That's the good word.
keeping it
All right.
suspended for now.
So it's,
But hearing them out and,
all
you
right.
know,
So
getting
it's
information.
pretty
if they
much
have it.
unanimous consent here that we'll hear them out, but we're not changing our course. Is that an accurate description of what you guys want?
Yep.
All right. So I will schedule some time with Denise. Maybe I'll drag them in. Actually, that might be a fun meeting. Let's have National Grid and Colonial
them.
Power come to our next meeting,
Face off.
and we can have a very frank discussion about this.
It'd be great if we could use it to offset some of our, I've seen the capital plan that the school has requested.
It's not trivial.
It's $3 million. In all fairness, they haven't given us the split between what Boylston would pay and what we would pay, especially for Tohoto. But we don't have a spare $3 million
No.
or even $1.5 million.
It's gonna be a knockdown drag out. without a
Well,
doubt.
that's why I sent in a letter requesting, do we get more clickers? Last year, we were able to get some from Leicester. That's great, but you can't have the numbers overlap.
Oh, yeah, because you get conflict.
Yep.
All right, so that would be the second action item I have, is 1, touch base with this vendor on the EV charger, and then 2,
Why don't you ask Kelly to come out and we can.
have a 3-way, say, okay.
Amy, you provide the boxing gloves.
Okay.
I'll provide the popcorn. Maybe we should. I don't know. We'll see if we can get Kelly out here. That might be a zoo, though, between National Grid, DOER, and Colonial. But honestly, I
But
feel
they've
like
all got to make up their minds.
I feel like taking them all to the woodshed and saying,
Work it out.
I
Work
don't
it out.
care
We're gonna
what
be
the
peddling.
answer is, just tell me the right
Just
one.
tell us what we can do with
tell
the
me
money.
what you want me to do.
And in writing, and have them sign off
Yeah.
on it right then and there.
All-
Well, the cool thing is
all
we'd
of
have it
them,
on video if they
right?
were here, so
Right,
I
that's
could
true.
play their words back to them.
Yeah.
But
But theoretically, you could have already done that.
theoretically, I could.
Yeah.
They were here on video, so I could go back to the archives. All right, so next meeting looks like it's shaping up to be
A fun one.
a fun one.
What's the date of the next meeting?
It would be it's currently the first Tuesday of February, for those of you who had to learn how to spell it phonetically. Town government.
I still say it like that in my head
That's
whenever I
right.
write it.
Mhm. That and spatula.
I like that one.
I'm sorry, February 10 to 11.
Does that sound right? Let's see. Survey says, I've got Energy Committee on the 4th.
Okay.
So February 11 at what time?
February 4.
Huh?
Currently it's scheduled at
4
February
4
4.
No, February 4th.
Oh,
Yep. It's at 5:30. We can move it up if you wish, if that's convenient for you.
I would say see what works for
All right. I'll work with it.
them.
Yeah, most of them say that they can work out, but I know that Sean and Amanda, being corporate warriors like all of us, do appreciate being able to get home a little earlier rather than having a 7 o'clock meeting. So we'll keep it at 5:30 for now, and I will send a notification and do a posting change if it changes. Okay, the only other, there's one other thing. There's two other things. I did talk to Chief McQuillan and Kristen today about the work that's going on with the development over here, with
Second
building out
floor.
the second floor of the public safety space. And I think I finally got through what my concerns were. I wasn't communicating well. And fortunately, we finally got on the phone and we were able to explain it more better than over email, let's put it this way. My concern was that with all the architect and engineering work with Assabet and everything else going on over there, I have seen lots of information about heating solutions, cooling solutions, split systems, all this other stuff. But what I haven't seen is how this will be controlled and will it interface with the overall building. Because the last thing I wanted was a little island of its own
Yep.
controls, its own everything over there. And I could easily see ourselves, we've already experienced it in this building where you could have one area heating, the other area cooling, and now we've got two systems working opposing each other. So I got Kristen hooked us up over email. We're going to try to get an actual call together. But the goal is to get the architect, basically the HVAC mechanical engineer, I'm assuming, from the architectural office to talk to Charlie of Guardian and their mechanical engineer and say, you two need to discuss protocols,
make sure everything's compatible.
yeah, compatibility, demarcations of where you're going to drop the wiring, where the power is going to be, what control mechanisms we're going to be using, whether we have enough capability within the system that we're purchasing with the Green Community Gap to control this extra space, all that stuff. I want those guys, that shouldn't be sexist, guys or gals, to actually talk to one another.
Those people.
Those people to actually talk to one another and come to an agreement on
That it
what
will
we're
work.
doing, because the ultimate goal is that a single facilities person can log into a single terminal and control the entire building and run a programmatic.
Is that normal?
It's a tall order.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Well,
a
Sue
tall-
was a former architect,
Yeah,
so.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, she
yeah.
still
I mean,
is.
I haven't done it since 2008, but it is a tall order. But
Yeah,
I guess
we
it
want a
depends on your
seamless
budget.
transition because we often don't get them.
So
I know.
here's what Charlie said. So I'll read you a little bit of the email that.
Also, keep in mind that technology changes so fast.
Yeah.
So they could have all the intention of having it work, but by the time this half gets updated, that half may be outdated.
Yeah. Well, timing-wise, I think we're pretty good. But anyway, I'll read to you. this is the introduction email that Kristen sent. And Dennis apparently is, who's Dennis? Dennis Ingram is on Context Studios, which I believe is the A&E firm. Hi, Dennis. I'd like to introduce you to Tim Wysocki, Chair of our Energy Committee, who has been deeply involved in HVAC issues with this building, along with Charlie Eel of Guardian Energy, who's going to be doing a Green Communities funding project on our BMS controls. I was hoping we'd have a brief meeting with your mechanical engineer to discuss how the HVAC system for the second floor public safety renovation would connect to the BMS controls. Perhaps as simple as a drop cable, etc. Perhaps this can be answered over email. If not, please let you know availability for next week. Here's what Charlie wrote. Hi all, what's the nature of the work? Okay, that's a gimme question, right? You're not gonna, no engineer in their right mind is gonna commit to anything without knowing what they're into. I'm guessing you're talking about building out the unfinished space so that it can be occupied. True. Anyway, most, if not all, HVAC equipment comes with a BACnet, B-A-C net, communication port, or one that can be purchased as an option. BACnet is an industry-standard, open, non-proprietary communications protocol. That would be your answer. Okay? So I wrote back, pretty much reiterating what I told you just now. I said, you got it, Charlie. I just want to ensure that any HVAC equipment installed in the new space is visible and controlled by a single master BMS, building management system. To that end, I was thinking about interfaces and compatibility, which you just answered, but also things like demarcation for wiring delivery, connectors, card capacity considerations, etc. The best way in my experience to avoid issues between complementary products or projects is to ensure that the experts on both teams are communicating effectively. So I'm going to push for a meeting to even if it's 30 minutes where they said this is no big deal or this is a gigantic deal, whatever, just as long as that I can say
They talk to each other.
they talk to each other, they're aware of each other's work. Because, you know, if
Would you get an estimate involved?
I think so, but I think ultimately Assabet is going to be delivering on the stamp plans that the engineering firm is providing to them.
Okay, let me put it to you a different way. I think any emails should be shared with one person at Assabet, just so that
Yeah, okay.
everybody knows. They don't have to read them, they can see it and delete it.
I don't disagree. I will talk to Chief McQuillan, because I have no idea who's working for Assabet. The chiefs have been kind of running that show. So I will tell them, say, hey, listen, can we get Assabet at that meeting too? At least they're, I don't know, whoever their leader is. Yep.
Okay, so what I just looked up BACnet, and yes, it is a protocol, and it looks like things are in units so that you can swap them out if you need to upgrade
Good.
or update. I would assume that there'd be updated software too, but yes, it looks like it's good. You just have to, I lost it, where'd it go? Something that they're called, oh, there it is, BACnet compliant equipment from various vendors. So it's
Yeah.
not, I think you said it, it's not proprietary.
Yeah. So
So,
my
yes.
hope is when they're speccing out, whatever they're speccing out, they're using like one of the biggies. It's either like Mitsubishi or Trane or Honeywell. I'm relatively certain that if it's a compliant, industry standard, they're probably signatures to that standard, and they would offer it. But-
Yeah, I mean, it could just be as much as in your agreements, you just say the equipment must be BACnet compliant,
Right.
compatible.
Yeah, and they haven't ordered anything yet. So, to your point, it may just be that easy that they call out to their manufacturer, ensure their BACnet card is built into the system. But either way, that was
Is
my
there
goal.
anything that's existing that needs to be upgraded as part of that?
As part of the work, they are. My understanding and what I've seen of the plans is that whole space is getting a full HVAC glow up. They're getting their own split systems, they're going full electric, and I'm cheering them on and letting them go, because that really is kind of the way to do it. So I think that if we manage this correctly, and people are talking, that is probably going to be the single most efficient portion of this entire building. So it's a good thing. It does, I mean, it will obviously add incremental cost associated with it, because we're heating, I don't know how much, I'll insert large number of square
Right.
footage additional, but we're gonna be doing it in a smart way. And my hope is someday we will kind of replicate what they're doing over there to the rest of the building. And that would be cool, because then we'd have the building management system that's current. We'd have one whole wing of the building, which is pretty current. And then it's a question of just looking at the existing oil-fired boiler system and saying, okay, how do we jerk that out and put in? Because that thing's coming to the end of its life. Those furnaces are still serviceable, still okay, but the time is going to come in a not too distant future here where we're going to have to make a call. And especially if we go towards climate leader community, say we've been designated, we have to go carbon neutral. We have to go fossil fuel free, which means split systems, or I shouldn't say that, heat pumps. So that's what I have to you this fine afternoon, evening.
Excellent.
Any new business or anything more?
I'm tired just listening to that.
I have no new updates on the solar. The credits are still not spread across.
Mm.
They're all still highway and here.
Oh, that you said solar. That reminded me. In the select board meeting last night, Paul came for Board of Health, and apparently the whole dump transfer station not closed properly thing has come to a head, according to what he told the select board last night. The reason why I bring it up here is he mentioned that one of his desires would be to use that space of the capped but not closed landfill for solar. Should that arise, it would probably fall into our lap. So bear in mind, one
That
of our
could be coming.
one of our sister committees is looking, or their board, I guess, they're elected, is looking at in a long-term plan. Now, given the potential technical challenges of correctly closing the landfill and everything else, I'm not holding my breath in this occurring, but he did mention that as a desire of the Board of Health to look into that. So that may be coming our way, probably not this year, maybe not even next year, but someday.
So what's next?
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Meeting's adjourned at 6:12. Thanks, everyone.